What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be giving you a tour of all of our antique collections. And before we start in the main room, which is my bedroom, which I call a museum or a mini museum, because all the different things that I have. We're gonna start off with this display first. So this is my Hudson River brick collection. And I have about 25 on the shelves on the little squares. So I have about 35 in total. And I have this book here, and this lets me know the maker or the company from each brick, and then what the name is imprinted on the brick, and then what town the brick was from or manufactured in. And then this is just a little sign commemorating the industry, telling you that the capital of brick making in the whole world back in the day used to be Haberstraw, or Haberstraw, however you want to pronounce it. And it operated from 1771 to 2002 with the last brickyard closing. And I have that brick from that yard right here. And that is Powell in Minnock. And I'll just give you a little up close of all of them. That one says JB. It's hard to make out, but that's Joe Borden from Cahoes. We haven't got a label for that one yet. And I have a bunch of new bricks coming, so we're gonna get another shelf for them. And we're gonna double my collection, basically. I went back up to New York and found some at abandoned brickyards. We're gonna have them shipped down. Hutton was the brickyard that closed in the 1980s, so that was the last one to close before Powell Minnock. And the one on the bottom there says M&R. Benson. And that one on the top right there, RB. Alright, so now we're going to be entering, well, basically like a mini museum. Well, first, there's this little display. These are bricks that are going to go on the next brick shelf. And the ones back there are an Anchor One, Schultz, BJA & Co., IXL, Rose and Terry Bros. And this is an original food ration paper that's dated 1940 for the German Army. And there's an original German Army or post office stamp. And then this is a standard German Army K98 bayonet, except for the only difference is this is a dress bayonet, meaning it's not meant for use. And it is in phenomenal condition. Basically like brand new condition. I've seen many of these. Usually they go for around 160, but I've seen some for 250, which I feel like is a bit much. This is a collection of artifacts that I dug up myself. I believe it was a house that burned down. This might not be the stuff from the house that was on that site. I think it might be stuff from a different house that burned down. It was buried in a different area. You can see that beautiful 1870s Victorian style doorknob. Some old china, that's the thing that would go to the doorknob. And there's like an old rare broken brick there. This is Sterling Brick Company, made in USA. There's a piece of a paver I never saw before. I think it's rare. Unfortunately, it's broken. I feel like the whole one might still be there, but it's not really that worth it going back for it. And these are just common ones and unembossed and pieces of stuff. And here, this is a rusted piece of rebar that was in with some of the broken concrete pieces and powder. And you can see it's got all this like black sparkly stuff all over it. And that is actually anthracite coal. So there's like a massive deposit of that stuff in the ground. I believe it's natural, but it could be ash. But I believe it's just a natural deposit. It's very cool. There's huge deposits up there in Cohoes and Waterford. Here we have a look-alike sign. Basically, it's kind of meant to look old, but it's been meant to look like that because it is a reproduction, basically. Very cool, though. It's advertising Mobil Oil for the SS United States ocean liner. If you are hating what Okaloosa County is doing right now, and you want to save the United States like I do, put down in the comments, save the United States. What Okaloosa County is doing, it's just wrong. They're sinking history. That's just like what the coalition is saying right now. I mean, they're doing pretty decent, I guess, right now with the legal battle, but they're keeping it going. They still have strength left. They're fighting for this ship. And many of us believe they will save her. While some of us don't. But just because we're not rich. But that doesn't mean somebody or multiple people will step up to do something to help. And then this is a 1957 Plymouth ad showcasing a 1957 Plymouth Belvedere convertible. Black two-door hardtop. And here's a Chrysler Plymouth approved service sign. And then over here, a box of 45 records from my grandfather. This is a replica that I made myself. It's made by the Giant Powder Company. It showcases all the different kinds of gelatin that they had, which is basically different types of dynamite. And this was found in an abandoned mine. And this must be super ridiculously rare because I've only seen one. And it was on YouTube, and it was found in the Cerro Gordo mines in California. And if you know Brent Underwood, he has it on his channel filmed. He found it when he was looking for way into the Union Shaft without the getting on the hoist. And it was like beautiful condition, like untouched. And then here, this is a bell that it was came from a playset that works. And then this is a replica copy of instructions for handling dynamite from the Giant Powder Company. And it's got like warnings and such, how to handle different things, different gelatins. I love like the little logo. And then down here, we have some pavers. I have 6, but I don't really like them anymore, so I just kept these, and I don't need any more pavers. I just like collecting Hudson River bricks. They're my personal favorite. And there's over 480 something bricks, so I still got a long ways to go. The only problem is I'm not in New York anymore, so it's a hassle to get them things. And of course, people scam me all the time on eBay for them. Freaking ridiculous the prices that they charge. Bricks should only be worth like $5, or they're just free. Because collectors trade them. They don't pay money for them. That's how those things work. Anyway, so this one's a Patton, PA paver. This one's Catskill. That's New York, I believe. That's from Pennsylvania, of course. That's from Johnsonburg Block, Pennsylvania. This guy up here is Allegheny Valley Block from Olean, New York. This guy here is from Pennsylvania. It says MAC, Registered U.S. Patent Office. This guy's really common. MAC Manufacturing Co. out of Connecticut. Then up here, I just have some bookmarks. And this cool RC Cola bottle. It's ACL though. It's still pretty old. And then these here are antique 60s and late 50s, 70s. Blue Hardy Boys books. Hardcover. And everyone is there, and they are in good shape. Beautiful shape. And the rest is just lots of different history books and things like that. And then I have this common bottle malt from Rochester. There's a decorative glass bird. My little poison bottles. The one on the right there I dug up in a 1920s bottle dump behind Harmony Mills in Cohoes, New York. Specifically, if you're ever wondering where that was, if you happen to live there. So if you live in mill number 1, or if you know where that mill is, right outside the back of the mill, if you know where the big trash dumpster thing is, there's like a path thing that goes into the brush, and if you go up that path, you're gonna find a site that was dug up by me, and there's a bunch of shale that I dug up and rocks after I dug up the bottles, but I dug up all of them, is what I believe. And the funny thing is, that poison bottle still had the cork in it, but I threw it out because I didn't know what it was at first. But now I know. That kind of stinks, but it is what it is. Then this is a hand-painted submarine. This was Germany's last advanced submarine from the Second World War. It was hand-painted by a submariner, or a sailor, I believe. One or the other. These are just all the bottles from that dump I was talking about. So there's this one's mustard, pharmaceutical, that is maple syrup, pharmaceutical, salad dressing, pharmaceutical, poison, ketchup, tonic medicine, ketchup, and ketchup. As you can see, these people really like their ketchup more than they like their mustard. And some of these are dated. Like this one has a patent date of 1915 on the bottom. Interesting thing is, I don't know if it makes it rare, but it has the mold number 4 on the bottom. It's a French's mustard jar. It says it's French's on it. And then back there I just have some antique locks and keys, skeleton keys back there, and some coal, and then an antique like tin thing, biscuit tin, and then, you know, just a painting and some extra puzzles, and then I also have some nice antique things in here. I have this Second World War compass, this little jar thing. I'm not quite sure if it's silver or not. And then I also have some pocket knives in here, if I could get them. Here, I'll just pull this out further. Here's an antique truck one. And then there's another really neat one in there. This is not one of them, so I'll put that one over here. Here it is. This is an antique, I believe it's a 1930s or 40s Queen Mary pocket knife, pocket watch, I mean not pocket watch, pocket knife. Yeah, it says RMS Queen Mary. It's in beautiful condition. Although some a little bit in the funnels are faded, but it's mostly in really nice shape. Considering it is quite old, it's in beautiful shape. And then over here, I have this book here that has lots and lots of postcards. And then I have some vintage 1950s McDonald's memorabilia and papers and stuff. Not really that neat, but it's still kind of neat. So I have a bunch of these here. They're mostly from other places, random places, but these are really nice. These are from Waterford, New York. There's the canal. And then some of them are dated. 1927. This is the old town hall versus the new one. I must say that this little block of buildings here with that blue building on the left there was demolished, I'm pretty sure fairly not too long ago. There's a gas station there now. But the town hall was remade in 1914 around that time due to a fire, burned the old one down. Unfortunately, the old one was absolutely beautiful and stunning and looked way better than the one today, which is still around, but would have loved it if it was this beautiful like the old one and not super ugly. but the fire just had to happen, and I mean, it was pretty much known it was going to happen because they dealt with a fire before, and they had to rebuild. The first fire was in the 1840s, and they built this one. And then 1914 that burned, and this one was built, which is still around today. I just love the beautiful architecture on this one, but this one doesn't have it as much. They just did things so much more beautifully back then, you know? And these don't have dates. And you just got things like First Street, Flatiron Park, 1910, 1913, Waterford Country Club, bird's eye view of the town with the town hall right there and the Black Bridge. This one's 1913, 1917, picture of old school, public school in the main area. That's Camp's Grill right there. There's the town hall. Here's the old bridge and the new bridge. 1912. That's the old Union Free School, now on the site of Waterford Rescue Squad, I think it's. There's 3rd Street, and you can see Scannell's drugstore on the left, or a pharmacy. They called it drugstore back then. Still looking for 2 bottles from that pharmacy. There's 2 different variants. And then these have dates of 1910 and 1915. That's when they're building the canal that's around today. Here's north from Waterford along the Hudson. Here's a 1912 message. This is from the 1960s. You could see John Hayden's & Co. Pharmacy and a Rexall drug sign and a drug sign. Here's the bridge with a trolley, and then the toll house and some buildings where there's a park now today. Then this one's from 1913, and this one does not have a date. This shows Town Hall and the post office and Broad Street. And then there's the bridge. And then this one also does not have a date, but shows the 9th Street Bridge. I mean, the Canal Bridge and 9th Street. The beautiful house is no longer there, but this house and this house are. One of these is the funeral home. And then this is St. Mary's Church, which is around today. And the old rectory, which is unfortunately no longer around, with a newer one built on top of it. Although it's very beautiful, though. It's like a really nice, I just love it's like a almost Victorian style, but very cool looking. And the rest of these are just kind of nothing special, just a lot of mostly envelopes, not a lot of actual messages, but still really cool. And I'm not gonna show you everything here, but there's stuff that has stamps on it and stuff too. Yeah, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. That's basically it. For the postcards, And then that McDonald's stuff is not that old, but I think it's from around the 60s or 50s. It's just kind of ads and things. Here we have like a nice glass collection. Some animals, though obviously these diamond looking things are fake. It's pretty neat though. Beautiful conch shells. And then some different glass things, all kinds of nice polished rocks. If you're really into rocks, you'd like that. I am myself. And then there's an old, I believe it's a 1960s radio. It says Universal. It doesn't work. There's a milk half pint from Troy. And then a druggist from Boston. Or a pharmacist. Whatever you prefer to call it. And here's my display of soda bottles from Birmingham, Alabama. And as you can see, I'm a fan of Brandon over at Adventure Archaeology. Shout out to his channel. If you have not been to his channel before, please consider subscribing to his channel. As he is one of my favorite content creators. And check out his videos sometime. They're very cool videos for people that like, if you're like the kind of person that likes, say, mudlarking or digging up like really cool antique bottles and artifacts and things like that. So I'm gonna go right to left here. So there is Coca-Cola, Gleola, Grapico, Pepsi-Cola, Nervola, Whistle, CC Co, National Dope Company, Cola Nip, Chero Cola, Alacola, Coca-Cola, Glee Cola, Wizola, Midscript, that's a slug plate, that is extremely rare. The Straight Side Coke is also a rare piece, generally around $80. That Wizola is generally around $50 to $70. And there's a decorative knee-high. Man, this Pepsi is very rare too. It's about $50 to $80 or so. And this Ford Cola is about $150 or so bottle. Possibly a lot more than that. Beautiful, just elegant Art Deco style. It's a Ford Cola bottle. Ford Cola. And there's a Try Me. It's a beverage company. Dr. Pepper. And then that one there is Nova Cola. And soda water. Got celery cola. Ryola. And then that's a $80 one. That's pretty rare right there. Alpha. Up here, here's some nice Art Deco stuff. Pretty common. I'm looking for a Birmingham Whistle bottle in that style. It's kind of nice. Better than the Straight Side. And then that one's a blood wine. I'm looking for one of those from Birmingham. And I'm also looking for a New Grape and a Surprise and a Squeeze from Birmingham as well. That's not from Birmingham, but I love the Art Deco stuff. It's kind of why I bought it. And I thought that was a pretty one. It's a Lee & Perrins Worcestershire sauce or Worcestershire sauce. This is a 1890s Wise beer bottle. And it's a beautiful deep blue aqua or teal color, more aqua. Unfortunately, the blob top is gone, but this bottle whole is worth about $350. This bottle repaired could maybe get around $250 at lowest, maybe 200 or 150, but around generally $200 to $250 with the top repaired. And it says DJ Wheelin, Troy, New York. Now there is an amber variant, and I've only ever seen one, possibly two, but they are extremely rare, so they got to be worth a lot more, like a holy grail. But the aqua variant is two. This here is a milk, and this is also milk from Cahoes. So I got AE Row, telephone 3F3, Cahoes, New York. I dug that one up myself. And this one I bought, RB Reamer. I believe this one might be common, but the one I dug up, I believe, might be the only one in existence because I've never seen one before. And before we go on to the pharmacy bottles, this is one I dug up, but it's broken. I've only ever seen one other. Believe it may be extremely rare, but it's not worth anything because it's broken. This is one that a friend of mine dug up. I believe it may be pretty rare, but I'm not sure. It says Woodlawn Dairy, C.E. Coons, Troy, New York. This is the straight side version of that Weiss beer bottle with the blob top that was broken. This is actually extremely common, believe it or not. So this type is common, but the blob top type is very rare. And now over here, so these are two different size pharmacy bottles from the John Higgins & Co. Pharmacy, located in Waterford, New York. It says John Higgins & Co., Waterford, New York, the old store. And there's also two other variants of this bottle that I'm looking for. And there's one other variant of this little one I'm looking for, and another variant of this one I'm looking for. So this one here is a Cahoes one. This one's Waterford. So this Waterford one says, leading druggist, Edgar C. McCullough, Waterford, New York. This one says, P.H. Spillane, pharmacist, Cahoes, New York. And then over here, I have my little vinyl figurine collection. It's missing two because they go for crazy money, about $500 to $1,000. They're in beautiful condition, and they used to still sell these, but they do not make them anymore. I believe they stopped selling these about 2 years ago or more. And then this is a replica sign, A&P, the grocery store. Antique knee-high grape sign. And that's an antique slot machine. Up there, those are two kind of reproduction handmade signs on the left and right. The middle one is real. So you got Giant Powder Company, the oldest powder company, and then you got the two newer competitors. Well, after the U.S. government broke up the monopoly between DuPont and Giant, they created the Hercules Powder Company and the Atlas Powder Company. So that's the logo for all three of these companies. These were like basically the three major players in dynamite back in the day, but there were also many other brands like, I see them a lot on eBay, American Cyanide and Trojan, and also things like Aetna and Apache, which was actually from Arizona. There's all other companies that made dynamite at that time too. And then this is just a modern German flag and a copy, print, a photo of the SS United States sailing at sunset. Beautiful photo. And this beautiful, gorgeous Western desert sunset scene painting. It is signed right there. It's a famous artist. This is my record player setup. And these are two collectible Autolite working headlight Christine cars. They have full detail in the hood, the trunk, and the interior. And then this is the restored night version, and this is like basically the beat up version. Basically, when Arnie finds it in the movie Christine, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's the 1983 Stephen King movie about a possessed car. My all-time favorite film. Anyway, this is my record collection. I have all my 33s nice and organized, all my 50s and 60s stuff, and then some modern, then all my 45s, old stuff. Here's a painted Christine poster. There's the famous quote from the movie. How do you kill something that can't possibly be alive? And then I'm going to show you some vintage, well, not vintage, but copies or drawings of vintage ones. This is a drawing of Nobel's explosive compound for dynamite. And then like a cross section of dynamite showing you all the different interior parts and everything. In here, I have this, this is one of the bricks I dug up, and if you look, it's really cool. It looks like there's a pencil inside of the brick, and you could see the hole where the lead went. So basically like an antique pencil in an antique brick. Wonder how that got there. And then this is my rock display. I have some beautiful banded, what do you call that again? Agate, in a tower form and in a droplet form. And then I have this specimen and that cluster of crystals, and then some fluorite and that rainbow substance, that kind of like beautiful ocean stuff, and then strawberry quartz, rose quartz, and smoky quartz, and another beautiful agate. Here's a better view of it. Then there's a nice red rock right there. Here's a crystallized smoky quartz specimen, beautiful. And then this beautiful specimen that I believe may be gold, real gold, inside of rose quartz. I'm not quite sure if it's fool's or if it's real, but it looks real because normally gold is inside of quartz veins. Then down here I have some different things like amethyst and azurite, citrine. That's a piece of melted glass, that green thing. Labradorite, Herkimer diamonds, and Druzy Herkimers. Some blue lace agate, fluorite, and it's like some type of chrysocolla thing or something like that. Maybe fire quartz, obsidian, bismuth. Not sure what that one in the back left is. And then just some random things, like some silver, some copper, some emerald, fool's gold, coal, a geode, you know, and then just like more amethyst, obsidian, different kind of things, citrine, a slate, quartz, and quartz, and some even got it's a weird looking specimen. I think it's rose quartz, and then ruby. No, yeah, oh no, it's garnet, and I have a really nice garnet specimen right there, sparkly. And then that's actually a very old Indian nutting stone that I found on the Indian Ladder Trail State Park in New York, if you've ever been there. Beautiful trail and has such beautiful scenery. It's a great trip. If you're ever near there, take the trip up there. It's so worth it. It's like so beautiful. And then there's like all different paths you could take, and in my opinion, the Indian Ladder is one of the most beautiful trails, and there's a waterfall. So very good for hiking and scenery if you are the type of hiking person. And then on this pool table, this is an original. This is not a copy. This is an original 1866 map of Waterford, New York. It also includes residents that stayed in the houses and businesses, house numbers for each street and everything. And the funny thing is, it also tells me exactly where John Higgins' drugstore was. And it also shows me where he lived, and he lived literally only maybe about, here's the drugstore right there, number 18, his house, right there, number 8. So literally only like a short, extremely short walk to get to his business. It's very cool. And then if you look for his name, it's listed, I believe it is on, right here, it's on the 3rd Street west side. Yep, see it right there, number 8, J. Higgins, John Higgins. And he lived, I could tell you, because I have all this information about it, I've been collecting. You can see the old wooden cart that the pharmacy used. And then here's like a photo from the 1940s. You could see it. And then there's an A&P right there, Mobil Oil, and then C.A. Bleebtree and Sons Grocer Company. There's the 1950s one where you could see it says like a neon sign, and it says, since 1844, drugs, prescriptions, John Higgins & Co. And then you could see that building there was the grocery store that I just mentioned. And then this is a Coca-Cola sign. It says 5 cents. Still there. And then on the same building is that old John Higgins & Co., the old store sign. John Higgins & Co., pharmacist since 1844. And you can see he was born in 1819, Litchfield, England. He moved to Waterford, and he died there on March 14th, 1897. And it was in business from 1844 to 1979. And if you remember that pharmacy, or any other Waterford, New York, or Cohoes, New York pharmacies from back in the day, please share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear more about these pharmacies. I'm trying to kind of research information on each one of them, and I'm trying to get bottles or pharmacy bottles from all the pharmacies in Cohoes and Waterford, and all the different variants that the pharmacy had for their bottles. And then this is original. This is a 1910s wax paper that says instructions and rules. Giant Powder Company, Consolidated, San Francisco, California, USA. This is basically how to handle dynamite from the Giant Powder Company. If you didn't know, this was the first dynamite company to sell dynamite in the US. Licensed by Alfred Nobel himself. If you didn't know he discovered dynamite, you may know him from the Peace Prize. One of his greatest inventions. And then over there's a ship's telegraph, pretty neat. And then there's a paper brick, Catskill again, Catskill block, reproduction gas pump. It's just meant for storing stuff in the inside. Here's some old square nails that I found. And here's some of my favorite seashells. And then there's some sand dollars and some nice coal. Here's a big piece. My Lego ships, battleships, and World War II Lego boats. There's the biggest battleship in the world, second biggest, and then the Germans' only aircraft carrier, called the Graf Zeppelin. Johnny Cash poster. And I'm not going to show you guys these because I'm going to share a presentation with you guys about this. And then here's a Christine movie sign. Reproduction, of course. And that's basically going to be it for this display. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm going to see you guys next time for the next tour.